7.
What's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? You're currently tuning into. You
are becoming the CultPop podcast.
CultPop 3-Body Podcast, episode 70, a show where we talk about movies and comics and television and breaking news and crippling nostalgia and all the other things that scratch your nerdy, dirty little itches. We're coming to you live from Young Junk HQ.
Young Chunk.
Hang on. Let's do it again. Do it again.
We're coming to you live from Young Chunk HQ.
Young Junk. Damn it. One more time.
We're coming to you live from Young Junk HQ.
Young Junk.
There it is. A bomb-ass podcast production space.
Pretty good, right?
The one where he burped out the name in Philadelphia,
More of a
PA.
crack.
Fell out.
Yeah.
Oh, it dribbled.
Sometimes mistakes are nature's like beauty.
Sometimes they are.
But this one wasn't.
I'm your goblin-y clone of Jean Grey.
Yeah, you're still
Unbelievable.
You're still a goblin.
JD of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327
Also known as the Goblin Queen.
Main Street, Philadelphia, PA. Listen,
All right.
here's the thing. I overshaved.
I saw. I didn't realize it was not.
Have you ever overshaved and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's what I look like under there?
Not for about 15 years.
Because without any color here, I just look like a thumb.
You know what?
Like there's
no one would
Can
have.
we get a close up of how thick?
No one would have
faces
said
on people's thumbs.
No one would have said a damn
have a
thing.
face on your thumb?
No one would have said a damn thing.
Here we go. Okay, with me tonight to talk is Brian and Noel.
Hey everybody. Also with us is our in the booth is our trusty producer Dylan the Great. Dylan, how you doing over there?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing over there?
Do you have any packing or masking tape that he can use to rip his face back because he's worried all day?
We have
He's gonna be worried
We have
the
some,
whole show.
as we
This
call
is
it in
better?
the industry, some gaff tape.
We have some
But
gaff
for the
tape.
reasons you
Some
think.
gaff
I just
tape.
Like it.
Just like wrap it
like
completely around him and pull his head up.
Yeah.
It's better when you move like that.
Also, so
Like Tim Burton, or the Keaton Batman.
Young Chunk, amazing place, amazing studio, amazing services. We have TikTok clips.
Oh yeah,
that
they
are
make
also a
shorts.
I gotta say, the most recent short, I'm barely a part of it, but the screen grab is me just like doing this.
Yeah. I did that.
so-
I did that for you on purpose. That was me.
That's
It's-
awesome.
Yeah.
I did the same thing when I think it might be a draft in our Instagram thing, but like that you were posing.
I
Like,
am going
could
to.
not,
So,
you know?
just so everyone knows, the whole show, I'm just going to be making random poses just to try and get
just so we can
just
use
try and
them
get
for
the
the
thumbnail.
shorts. Yeah.
So like, just naturally, I'm going to be like, or like
Robert Monroe Jr. is in the chat saying, "Good evening, Cult Poppers." Red Wing says, "Hi, how are you?" Red Wing, I'm doing excellent, except for this whole neck area.
Red Wing.
Did Red Wing say, "How are you"? See, I'm reading the chat too, JD.
Red Wing.
I just see hi.
How are you?
Where does it say how are you?
The next one down.
Oh, it's the second one down.
And then Tommy
Now,
B. Good
all right.
says, "Gazes ominously down the hill from Germantown."
You just doxed yourself,
Hi.
Tommy. What up?
Yeah.
Hi all, can't wait
Be
to
good
chat
now.
3-Body
I know where you
Problem.
are, dude.
Hi Roxanne, welcome.
Hey.
We haven't seen you in a while. Welcome
Hey.
Nice.
back. All right, this episode is brought to you by vaping.
Is that right?
Do it for the people.
Why?
No, that's all right.
Oh,
No, we don't. I don't know what that is.
I thought
So-
we were.
It's brought to you by oversized water bottles. I gotta
When
tell you,
are we gonna get some of those, right?
Right before we go, I know, sorry, that's normal size for you. Right before we go live, these cats start chugging, and it's like open mouth chug. So all you hear is like,
Yeah. I do it for a long time.
It's not rad.
Yeah.
If anybody has like, what's the terminology for like certain sounds that just like elicit awful responses? Isn't there just like an actual terminology for it?
A person who has
ASMR.
that is said to be a misophonia. But that's not about the sounds themselves. That's like a person's reaction.
But if so, I may have misophonia.
Yeah, misophonia.
Misophonia.
Like the sounds.
If some sounds make me like, ugh.
Yeah, like they turn you around or
Upside
the.
down.
It's more of mild than
Inside
I guess,
out.
because there's some sounds that are just like, oh, why?
I listen to some ASMR that is mouth sounds.
Like the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Gives me tingles.
Prophonia.
Yeah, sure. I'm
Yeah.
prophonia
What kind
all
of-
day.
can we-
Phylophonia.
I'm about to end this
Philophonic.
stream just because of that.
it's just like key up the mics.
Here's the thing. Phylophonia be pretty cool and philophonic. a very cool sounding word.
That was good.
Yeah.
Good,
All right,
good
that
job.
was a good practice start. Let's
done.
roll it again.
Yeah. All right.
All right, but we got to say
I'm ready
follow
to go
Phonic
live.
again.
I'm ready. That was a good.
Woohoo!
All right. In lieu, well, I guess not in lieu.
We're gonna do like a little bit of what you've been up to this week, but then there's tons of stuff happened this afternoon.
Yeah. So Noel and I went and saw Godzilla X Kong: The New World.
No, it's Godzilla Kong, The New Empire.
The New Empire. My bad.
The X
Like a
is
time
silent.
symbol.
The X is silent. Yeah, it's like Spy Family.
Brian,
like
did
the
you
anime.
see Gorilla Kong: The New Empire?
Not the new one, no.
Did you see Godzilla Kong?
I didn't see that one.
Did you see Godzilla
Which one?
2014.
2014? Did you
Did you see
see
Godzilla
Skull Island?
Did you
No,
see
I didn't see
Godzilla
that.
Cool.
King of the Monsters?
King of the Monsters.
No.
Did you watch Monarch?
The one that we did for the show.
Yes.
I watched that. And maybe it was 2.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of Godzilla.
You're in the club.
Yeah. Matthew Broderick one from the 90s.
1998.
Saw that.
Yeah.
What the heck just happened? Am I watching the right thing?
You are-
Am I watching the right thing?
You are watching the right thing.
Always
Victoria
and-
Vicious Marshmallow.
Always and never.
Yeah. All right. So Godzilla. You
Godzilla
went and saw
Kong,
it in
The New
IMAX.
Empire, directed by Adam Wingard. It is the next movie in the MonsterVerse franchise, which we just rolled off all the names for, starting
Yeah.
in 2014 with Godzilla by Gareth Edwards.
Was
yes,
that Jack Black? Was he in that one?
that is King Kong, and that was Peter Jackson from
did he- was that
2000
Godzilla? Okay, right,
2004.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was related.
Interesting.
It's
movie.
related.
You're
yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the new one. The last one, Godzilla vs. Kong, was very, very successful during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So-
That was a blast, man.
They immediately. I love that movie. I love
was
Godzilla
fun.
vs. Kong. So, for those that are uninitiated with Kong, or with Godzilla movies and
Me.
kind
of King Kong movies, it's been going on for 60 years. 60 years. Yeah. There are eras of Godzilla movies because they've been going on for so long. They're like the Showa era, the Heisei era, the Millennial era. All of them have almost like different Millennium era. All of them have different styles. So like the umbrella that Godzilla is under is also something like Godzilla -1, where it's a pensive allegory about PTSD and or the war. And big colorful monsters punching each other in zero gravity.
Because
Like,
Godzilla
they-
has always kind of been about, or more than kind of been about,
Yeah.
the war and
Yeah.
from inception, and
Yeah.
then it just kind of evolved at different periods of time. Like in the 60s, it became something different. In the 80s, it became something different. So like when people, I don't know, complain, air quotes complain about that's not Godzilla or that's not the Godzilla. It's been around for a long time, and all of this shit is Godzilla. The fact that he suplexed King Kong, it still tracks. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and yeah. What did I like the movie?
Yeah.
yeah. Did you like the movie?
Give us some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
liked it?
Yeah, you did.
All right.
Well, I'm an easy mark for this shit.
Yeah.
One of my favorite directors is big. It was stupid. I did not like it as much as Godzilla vs. Kong. That was just like, this was like, solid. Yeah. But I went and saw it in IMAX, and it was pretty full for like a 1 p.m. on a Friday. Like it was a very full auditorium. 2 seats from me was this teenager, maybe like 15 to 16 years old, older than I
he
thought.
texted me about this.
Older than I thought would have this reaction. He was into it.
Oh, yeah.
Fist pumping,
Oh.
cheering, dropped his popcorn during like an awe moment. Like he was genuinely into it, and that energy made this
love it.
one of the coolest experiences I've had in the theater.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like the kid was just into it. He did a selfie of himself at the end of the movie with his popcorn, with his like Godzilla
That's
versus
adorable.
Godzilla Kong bucket.
Nice.
And I'm like,
Since you said at the end of the movie, that's adorable.
Yeah.
If you said in the middle of the movie, I would have kicked him in
Here's
the
another one of me with Godzilla.
and then to my right was a father and his son. I'm like, this was the demographic for this movie was just all over the board and really fun and colorful and silly. The movie itself was maybe like a C+, a B-, but the experience and the playfulness, I recommended it. I loved it. I had a good time. Yeah.
I really enjoyed the last one. I have never been a Godzilla guy. Like I've grown up with so many people who their experience of childhood is, I don't know, Sunday mornings on UPN or something.
Oh, yeah,
like
so-
Channel 57, watching it with their
really?
It was
dad.
Saturday morning cartoons, and then those ended at around 11. And then one of the public access channels did all old Godzilla movies for the rest of the afternoon.
So I never
So I
grew
would
up
play with
watching
toys, watching Godzilla
I think
movies,
I was aware that they were on TV sometimes, and I've seen like little bits of it. Was there a cartoon? Was there a Godzilla cartoon?
There's been multiple, yeah, but some of them weren't even all Godzilla movies. Some of them were like Gorgo and Gamera and Jet Jaguar and Ultraman and
Your
stuff.
Mecha Godzillas. Yeah.
Your mechas, your
don't-
spaces.
So I don't have that basis. So it wasn't until Skull Island.
That movie's
I think
great.
that I really was like, oh, this is fun. I like this a lot. And then because the Gareth Edwards Godzilla didn't really. There's like 20 minutes of Godzilla, and there was like one cool shot at the very end.
There's actually there was somebody did the screen time for all the movies, how much Godzilla's been in it, and they all are within 8 to 12 minutes.
That's funny.
Every movie.
But for some reason, the first one bored me to tears. And it wasn't until Skull Island that I really enjoyed it. And then Godzilla vs. Kong, I thought was just a blast. And then this, I think, followed suit with the one just before.
Yeah,
it.
it's
very silly, over the top. He's got a giant mecha arm now. King Kong does for some reason.
Got a mecha.
Well, we've got a kaiju.
Where do you get a hold of that?
So one of the main characters is a kaiju veterinarian. So
Yeah, he's
we're in.
my man. Kong has he's just hanging out, setting traps, and living his life.
Okay.
And he gets a toothache.
Uh-oh.
He has an abscess
So he has
tooth.
to have a.
So
he has to have his tooth removed by a dentist.
He has like communication with humans. They're all talking to people.
Well, it's a
not
little
really.
convoluted
Okay.
in so much as the Earth is hollow,
Oh,
and inside the hollow Earth
yeah.
is another ecosystem that fuels the planet's heat.
Okay.
So it's an ecosystem and an ecosystem.
They don't have dentists.
The planet is a Russian nesting doll. No, they don't have dentists because it's
because it's an ecosystem that fuels the planet's heat.
Yeah.
They got a lot going on.
Yeah.
They don't really have offices or
They don't have
doctorates
offices?
down
But
there.
Up
Also,
here we
no
do
humans.
have Dan Stevens, who is
Yeah.
a giant ape dentist.
He's a regular-sized man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Regular sized. He's Dan
but
Stevens sized.
he's
Okay. In our world.
Yeah.
he's the guest-sized man.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
In
The Guest
dealing
being
with-
another movie he was in that we both love.
You and I?
He-
Oh, I haven't
we
seen
should,
it.
we
That's
should
right.
we should just review that just cause.
Yeah.
All right,
You
here's-
guys seen The Guest? Let's talk about
You
it.
should
I haven't
watch
seen it.
Yeah, you should.
Nor
see it.
have I heard of it.
No, this was stupid.
This
There's-
was stupid. Let me finish my shit. So this was really fun.
That's what
I
it is.
really enjoyed this. I will say, I fell asleep for the past 15 minutes. The last 15 minutes of this movie, I have no idea. I assume Godzilla and Kong won the day. But as soon as they were going into battle, I woke up and
So-
it was over. I was like, oh shit.
the final battle is
Not
like
because of the movie, but because I was exhausted.
Sure.
the final battle is like 3 stages. Did you at least see the inside Hollow Earth part
Yeah.
where they're 0G?
No.
Was it right in the center?
Did I miss like 20 minutes?
You missed a lot. Yeah.
Shit.
How much gravity was in the part that you saw?
There's a
Regular amount?
A regular amount of
okay.
gravity.
So
like
the
a Dan
physics-
Stevens amount of
The
gravity.
I
physics of
gotcha.
Hollow
From the
Earth
guest.
is manipulated in such a way so you do have a very large action set piece of Godzilla, Kong, a bunch of bad kaiju, all in 0 gravity, throwing shit at each other and
That's amazing.
rolling at each
I got to
other.
go back and see this again.
It was cool.
Yeah.
This
But,
movie
like,
is not spoilable.
But
honestly.
I knew I
It's
was
just
in.
fucking
I knew I
cool.
was in from the trailer when Kong like holds on to Godzilla and like hitches a ride on Godzilla.
Yeah, he grabs one of his spinies.
Yeah.
Did he jump or something?
Yeah,
This was
he
in
jumps
the
into
0G
it and then
part.
they ride together. Also, Godzilla is a giant kitty cat.
Oh, I love where he decides to sleep. I don't want to
So-
spoil it, but where he decides to sleep in this movie is
He's just a
adorable.
big kitty cat. When he senses danger or something, he goes after it and just crushes it and then goes back to sleep. That's his entire motivation for all of these movies. He's just a big kitty cat that protects the ecosystem.
It's so cute.
This movie's great.
In the chat, let's see. I think I'm ready to do a Godzilla marathon.
Do it.
Shame today was a work day. Would have been perfect to watch a bunch of Godzilla.
The rain is the perfect day to watch monster movies.
Tommy says, Catzilla just landed on my keyboard. Was just going to say Godzilla would show up on Ultraman, Roxanne says.
Oh, interesting.
And wanted to see -1 with Tommy Be Good, but can't find how to stream it anywhere. Face pink tears.
Okay, so apparently there is a agreement between Legendary and Toho that because both movies are within like 3 months of each other, they are holding off on digital and physical releases in the States for -1 until this one's out of theaters. Sorry.
Am I crazy? Do you not think that having that Godzilla -1 available to stream would help
So
the movie in the theaters now, like, oh, I got this Godzilla.
No.
I'm in the Godzilla movie.
I
Let me
don't.
go.
No, I don't, because I think that they are wildly different movies. So you have one kind of keeping this version of Godzilla alive, the other one keeping that version of Godzilla alive. They do not really hand off to each other at all in any kind of like tonal or thematic way.
Yeah.
They're very different. So you've got the Saturday morning kids with popcorn Godzilla at the same time that you're also like actively promoting -1. I think letting each movie breathe is more than
okay.
fine. Yeah.
Also,
Also,
I've heard a
only
lot
be
of
in the
people
mood
complain.
for one Godzilla at that time. You know, you're like, which one am I going to watch?
Yeah.
The one I have to go pay for?
and yeah, also too, I was gonna say that's
That's a
true.
good
Like,
point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I
Which
as
one's
much
the
as,
free Godzilla?
as much as I want to see Godzilla -1 again and own the 4K
I'm buying
and
it.
in both color and non-color, I'm fine with waiting because why would they want to galvanize their own audiences?
Yeah. All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. So Godzilla X Kong, we did it.
We did it.
Brian,
Hey.
what you been up to this week? Huh? I'll tell you, it was Midnight Club.
Oh, wasn't? I thought it was some other 3 other things.
Oh, no,
instead of that.
no.
It's but silly me.
Either way, Midnight Club.
You're right.
Did you enjoy Midnight Club? It's a Netflix show by Mike Flanagan.
It was pretty cool, and it's not my favorite of his.
No.
It doesn't have the same vibe. So much so that I
got you
kind of
right
figured
here,
it was
like, you're
earlier.
right.
Yeah, it wasn't your favorite. You
No.
thought of me.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Brian was right.
yeah.
Hashtag.
About his personal opinion.
Hashtag.
Your
Brian
investment
was
in my perspective is very flattering,
Yeah, yeah.
and I appreciate
Tell
it.
me more.
So it was cool. There were little bits of the like ghosty stuff in season 1, and then a lot of
bits?
it was there were ghost bits,
Ghosty bit.
and so, yes,
Ghosty
but you had to look it up on like a porn site for the ghosty bits. Yeah.
Ghosty bits.
So most of it was the stories that the kids were telling.
Yeah.
And the stories were, none of them were not cool. One of them was very cool. You know, and the other ones were like, oh, it was all right, you know. But it's also like a story within a story, and that often removes any sense of urgency unless it's like The Princess Bride or something, and it's right in the beginning. That's different. But so anyway, yeah, there was that. The stuff they set up though is intriguing.
Yeah.
They don't really get to it. They, you know, you really think you would get to that part faster. Unfortunately, there was not to be a second season unless somehow that happens. But he did. I thought this was very cool. Just come out with it. He said he like gave an interview and he's like, "Here's what was going to happen.
Oh, that's cool.
This is all the deal. This was going to turn out to be this. This person was this person. This is
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
so
great.
that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In case you were wondering.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, who is this person?
I like Mike Flanagan a lot. For anyone who doesn't know, Mike Flanagan did The House on Haunted Hill. He did
Fall of the House of Usher.
Fall of the
very
House
cool.
of Usher was so good.
Yeah.
And the other one,
Midnight Mass.
Midnight
Haunting
Mass.
of Bly Manor.
So many good
Dr. Sleep.
series. Dr. Sleep. Hush, was that the movie he did with his wife? Awesome movie.
He does everything with his wife.
And this
never-
Midnight Club was based on Christopher Pike novels, which are books that I grew up loving. You know, you would read R.L. Stine, and then you would graduate to Christopher Pike, and then you would graduate to Stephen King as far as like horror in the 90s was. So I was very excited. And it had Heather Langenkamp,
It did.
who's my favorite final girl, Nancy from the Nightmare on Elm Street
Bit of a
films.
spoiler, but all right.
She eventually dies.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, in part 3.
I'm not going to see
I'm
that.
not.
best of the
I am
movies.
not.
I don't intend to see those
I am
movies.
not against spoiling a 30-year-old movie.
But yeah, I still was
no.
like, oh, this is not as good as
It was
I
like,
hoped it
all
was.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it definitely is for the younger set. It is a YA show, and it feels it. Yeah,
And you get these other stories, and I think maybe I was not expecting that because his other stuff is the story of what's happening, the ghosts and the creature and whatever in the real world. But coming into it, and presumably the original book is like this, I didn't know I was going to be watching a bunch of little stories. that
well,
are just
that's
the
because
stories,
those
you know?
other stories are all based on other Christopher Pike novels.
Oh, so that's not in the Midnight Club book.
I don't think so.
Oh,
I think
okay.
in the same way he did
With Fall.
The House of Usher,
Yeah.
each of those stories involved different tales from Edgar Allan Poe.
Hmm.
I believe this is that same sort of setup, but for Christopher Pike.
Well, the way that he did it and wove it into the story in Fall of the House of Usher was outstanding.
Masterful.
In this one, doing it, you know, I didn't know I was signing up for an anthology.
Yeah.
And that is not necessarily his fault if that's what he was like. I want to do an
Yeah.
anthology with a framing device. But very cool to have heard what would happen.
All right. Some news dropped. Let's get on it.
Like 2 or 3 hours before we went live, so we figured why not?
Yeah.
Since we're breaking news. So the first thing is
You said that
Marvel
earlier.
has seemingly cast their Silver Surfer for the upcoming Fantastic Four, and it's Julia Garner from Ozark, and she will portray the Shalabal version of Silver Surfer.
Wait, what? It's not Norin Rad?
No.
It's Shalabal.
Yeah.
Which is Earth X, right?
I have no idea.
Shalabal eventually becomes another surfer in Earth X when she and Norin Rad go and journey.
Yeah, because Shalabal
Yeah.
is normally Norin Rad's just
X.
yeah.
Dead X.
Or there's some time. Yeah, she's not really in it a lot, but he pined for her in the beginning, but couldn't find Zenla, and I think eventually found it,
But
and a bunch of stuff happened.
her becoming the Silver Surfer is. I think
Canon?
it started. I think it's canon only in Earth X.
Oh, okay.
I think so. Why don't you just call her Norin Rad? It's not like
probably-
Norin is a
probably
name that...
Everyone would freak the fuck out.
Baby apoplectic?
Apoplectic. That's what I was trying to say. Or alopecia.
And also, it
Who
might
knows?
be that they're going to also introduce Norin Rad.
Norin Rad. Oh, that's possible,
Right.
too.
yeah.
All right,
Might
well, that
lead
would be
into
cool. Yeah.
Norin Rad's.
It's like Liette Kynes in Dune.
As the person that's watched Ozark, how do you feel about Julia Garner?
I love her so much. And I also love Ozark. I was surprised by a certain podcast, the Slash Film. He hates that show. They all hate that show.
I didn't watch it.
I love Ozark so much. Have you watched Ozark?
No.
Dylan?
Hell, motherfucking yeah, I've seen Ozark. That shit is so good. I love that
It's so
show.
good.
Jason
Every
Bateman
episode-
forever.
It's so... it really grabs me.
Tickles you.
Guys,
It really tickles me.
I know what you're talking about.
I think we're bearing the lead.
Okay. About Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfer means
Fantastic Four.
Silver Surfer means
Galactus.
Thank you.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form, that means
At least like...
Galactus.
No,
talking about
don't
it.
look now, no.
Galactus.
Don't look now. I think he's right behind you.
Galactus is. Well, he's really big. He's...
Oh, son of a bitch!
That's just a purple lamp. Oh, I see. He is
Oh,
there.
he's Galactus.
He really is there.
He is.
Oh. I was like, what a strange bit Dylan is doing.
I was going with it,
Wait,
but...
yeah.
Hang on.
Yes, and baby.
hold on. I gotta do my screen grab.
All right.
Ah.
He's not looking. He's
Where's-
looking at me.
I hate this.
Hopefully it'll be better than the Fantastic Four Galactus that we saw before, which was a cloud.
I feel like now they could just do a person and be cool with it. Yeah.
Rumors were that it was like Antonio Banderas or something, which I would be super down with.
Hey, do you think, from what you've seen before, bearing in mind that these people are actors, has she acted in like a reserved and philosophical way, distant? Although, if she's not a Norrin Rad type character.
She is pure anger
Okay, in Ozarks.
in Ozark.
Yeah. Ozark, just one.
Yeah, it's just one Ozark.
Okay.
It's a singular Ozark.
And they all have to find it.
yeah.
We're gonna save the cooler one for last, but I thought that this was kind of cool. There's a director in talks for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and that's
One of my all-time favorite stories for Supergirl by Tom King and
Bilquis.
Bilquis Evely. So good.
Oh, yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah.
Craig Gillespie is in talks to direct Supergirl for DC Studios. For those unfamiliar with Craig Gillespie's work, which seems to be everybody else at this table.
Me too.
Most recently, he directed Cruella,
Oh.
I, Tanya,
good.
Oh, was it?
Dumb Money. He did
heard of it.
Hulu's Pam and Tommy, which I never saw. I didn't care to.
With that.
But
thought
yeah,
it was good.
he has a successful pedigree, but none of them scream a comic book movie.
No.
So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Especially since this comic book movie is basically a Western.
It's sci-fi Western, yeah.
This,
have
this
you
is
not-
the like sword and sorcery one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, sword and sorcery, but by way of
Space
Doing
travel.
like
Yeah.
themes typically found in westerns in that setting.
yes. There
Yeah,
we go.
yeah,
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of a mashup
Is
of
this-
Western, sword and sorcery, and sci-fi.
Is this an animated film or a
No,
live action?
live action. Millie Alcock.
Oh, that's right. She'd been
Yeah.
cast. Yeah. Cool. All right. I'm down. Sounds good.
And the one that the piece of news that set did it set the internet ablaze?
Nah.
You know what it did? It
No.
set off a chain reaction of everyone's hot takes. The Matrix 5 is in active development with Drew Goddard writing and directing.
I like Drew Goddard.
Drew Goddard is responsible for Cabin in the Woods, written and directed Cabin in the Woods, but he's also more of a screenwriter. He's screenwriter of The Martian.
No kidding.
A couple of other things. I'll look him up later. But
yeah, Drew Goddard is one of those names that like.
He also wrote Cloverfield, World War Z, Bad Times at El Royale, Cabin in the Woods. He also made his career on TV: Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, Alias, Lost, Daredevil, The Good Place. So he is
that's an interesting. Yeah.
That's some bona fides.
So how do you feel about a fifth Matrix movie?
Don't care.
How do you feel about a fifth Matrix movie not by the Wachowskis?
Don't care.
All right. I'm into it. Here's my experience with right before The Matrix 4 came out semi-recently. My fiance and I watched the 2 and 3. And I remember being like kind of disappointed. Like there was a lot of cool stuff. But then we watched 2 and 3 and they were way better than I remembered. I was like, those were cool. So now 4 was like, it was all right. There was some cool stuff. So I'm hoping that happens in like 20 years or 10 or whatever.
Similarly, I saw the first one in theaters like 6 or 7 times.
Blown away.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
The second and the third one, I don't hate. I think they are navel gazing and boring.
Yeah.
It's like one movie worth of plot spread out to 5 hours.
Yep.
Oh, see, that's not.
I didn't find the second one to be like narratively useful. It was just like world building with no actual climax. And then the third one actually had a climax, but it was off-world kind of climax. Like my wife and I rewatched them last year.
Yeah, same.
Because we watched all 3 of them like back to back on
before the fourth one came out.
No, after the fourth, I watched the fourth one kind of cold, and I need to revisit it. I thought it was 2 movies, like 2 half-assed movies slammed together, as opposed to a thing.
Also, I felt like the way that they built on their ideas was like all right, but not as cool as I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of ideas about when it, especially because the second one came out, and then when we hadn't seen the third one, it's like I bet it's going to be this or it might be that, and them not having gone with what I thought would be cool is, I guess, not a condemnation of them, but it would have been cool.
Yeah. You got what you wanted. Yeah.
It was there was a period of like sequels that were like automatic trilogies that the second movie didn't seem like there was enough meat on the bone.
Yeah.
Was it Lord of the Rings, you think?
No.
People were like, no. I mean,
No, I don't.
people were like, oh, we're going to make trilogies.
Oh, that did that? Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do. Because
Yeah.
why are there 5
Hobbits?
Pirates movies?
Or,
Yeah.
Yeah, why are there 3 Hobbit movies?
Yeah.
Because it's maybe a movie and a half worth of story that they
Right.
stretched out.
It's shorter than any
And
of
then it
their
got a third
individual
one.
books.
Yeah,
They weren't-
it's just like they have like the Wachowskis have enough ideas and bits of lore and minutia to build the 3 movies, but when it came to the journey of Neo to this cycle, it was treading water for me.
Same.
yeah.
All of it was cool shit. The idea of glitches being ghosts and werewolves and this and that. All of it was super cool.
Yeah. And a lot of cool action stuff, too.
Did nothing to drive the main narrative into the third movie. So I felt like I spent a lot of time with all this sugar, and I still am hungry.
The worst part of the second one is the big deal that the Burly Man set piece was, and how much they worked on it, and how groundbreaking that whole thing was, and it was immediately outdated. Like, seeing that in the theater didn't work. Like, the night it was released, I was like, oh, that's not great. And it's even worse now. It just looks like a really bad cutscene from a video game.
Comparatively, the final battle in the third movie in Revolutions,
I love that final battle.
so cool.
I love that final
Like,
battle.
it's the closest we will ever get to a live action Dragon Ball Z
Yeah.
fight, where they're literally just like power upping in the sky, crazy shit happening. All that was so thematically wonderful versus just. We did a second movie because we had all these ideas and we could.
Yeah.
But
Vicious Marshmallow.
You go ahead. Vicious Marshmallow.
Vicious Marshmallow says, I love a good navel gaze. Belly buttons rule.
Yeah.
And I agree. I like that aspect of those Matrix movies. It was just,
I played the video game and everything. I was in.
too.
Oh,
I
you
did
know
all
what?
of it.
You know what, you
Animatrix?
guys? Yes, the
the
Animatrix.
comic
I did all
we
of it.
cannot ignore. Also, Neil Gaiman wrote a Matrix short story that was up on the official Matrix website for a while. That was very cool and involved this guy. And I forget what happened, but like something happened and went wrong with him being in the Matrix. And he helped them. There were aliens coming and they needed a human to pilot. I read this about 15, 20 years ago, and they needed a human to help out, and he helped them, but he was dying. And so they sped up his time in the Matrix, and he lived like an entire great life in the last however
That's
long.
fun.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. But after 3 sequels of the original movie, I have just sort of settled into, I wish they'd never made more than one. The first one was so groundbreaking and it blew my mind into pieces the first time I saw it. And I saw it maybe 5 or 6 times in the theater.
Oh, yeah.
It was a very big hallmark for that decade, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it's just been diminishing returns ever since.
Yeah, I think it's been a lot of like. Yeah, basically I agree with you. I don't think that there's like. Back in the day when we were talking mostly about comics, or when we talk about comics a lot, I would be reading something and I'd be like, guys, it's not that fun. And I would explain to you all the stuff that happened in the book, and both
Jason Aaron's Avengers.
Justice League.
and both of you,
Justice League.
both
And
Justice League,
Justice League.
and both of you guys were like, that sounds so fucking
amazing.
cool.
That sounds cool.
That's the Matrix
Not-
sequels,
yeah,
all of them. If
yeah,
you
yeah.
sit down and you talk through them
Yeah.
and blah blah blah, it's like these are such great
Right.
ideas.
And
This is so
this
cool.
highway fight scene.
But the experience of them just seems it's lacking. It
Yeah.
just it feels like empty calories for the most part to me. The fourth movie, the first half of it was none of this is real and it's not real intentionally and it's great, was interesting. And then they did a speed round of a remake of the first one and I'm like, I just didn't care.
Yeah.
Now, all that being said, I think, always willing to see another
yeah.
entry in something that I like, even if the other ones were bad, and maybe sometimes especially, because you're like,
Oh yeah, I'm down.
oh, I really want to see this and see what happens next. This guy has a great idea for it, they said, which would be...
It's Drew Goddard. So
Right.
that gives me hope because, to be fair, the Wachowskis have left me cold with the past several offerings. So
I mean,
if we got somebody else,
Speed Racer was phenomenal.
I still
That
have
was
never seen
quite a
that
while
movie.
ago.
Yeah.
What was that's the last one that I could think of, actually.
Speed Racer was phenomenal.
I mean, I was talking about the last
They did
Matrix.
like Sense8, and then
which was only
then
one.
they both kind of like went their separate ways and did separate things together. I think 'cause
okay.
The last Matrix was only Lana.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm be different. Remake everything. I don't care. Just make it good. So
Tommy says we loved opposite halves of the fourth movie, but we were both satisfied. The Merovingian was always cool, but you're right though. The first movie has the best narrative. What? Must find the Neil Gaiman shorts. Does JD have it in the shop? No, it was. I don't think it was ever
not
published.
or
it was
published online, which
it
is a
in the-
legitimate
only
form
on-
of media, JD.
What? Okay.
not in this place.
But no,
Yeah.
it was never. Yeah, it was at a
not
time
while we
when
stream.
There were probably other ones there too. I mean,
Look at
I think there was like a bunch of short stories on the Matrix.
Yeah,
website.
I remember that. Yeah.
You can probably find them
They're
somewhere.
probably on Reddit somewhere. However, Roxanne, there were comic books that were published that were in the Matrix universe, and I heard tell that they're going to be republishing them due to an anniversary or something. So maybe
it
look
is-
on for that.
It's
26th
it's
anniversary?
okay. So the Neil Gaiman story is called Goliath. It was published.
Oh.
And it was republished in the Matrix Comics 20th Anniversary Edition. I
As a
I have it at home. Yeah,
wonder-
it's art by Bill Sienkiewicz.
So the original is a text story,
Yeah.
but that's cool.
Maybe they just printed it as a text story in the back of the comic
possible.
book, the trade paperback, as like bonus
also
content.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roxanne, if you, I don't know who you are unless I know you in person. Hit me up at the shop and I'll see if I can get you the comic book, which apparently has the story in there.
What do we
Oh,
know?
yeah, I could read all this for you if you want to know the development process. For
No,
it,
thanks.
But yeah,
Start at the beginning
other-
of printing.
Shut up. Any other news?
yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Oh, that was it.
I can't
Oh,
wait.
okay.
I
I just wanted to
can't
listen
wait
to
for
that.
Matrix 5.
Yeah, I'm into it.
I mean, I'm gonna see it.
I want.
see
You know what? You know what though? I don't want returning cast members.
No.
Oh, do you want an all new Matrix?
Give me an
story?
all new cycle.
What if somebody
Well,
had a
because
really smart
I'm
role?
into
Guys,
that.
it's literally baked into the plot. The
there's a
fact that
cycle.
there are these cycles of
So like a
a
new
loud
Neo?
rebellion.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Just give me a whole new. Like,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
And then you could subvert my expectations based off of what I know happens in the other ones. Yeah.
They're not going to do that though. They're going to bring back Keanu Reeves and Carrie.
Probably. Probably. Or as different characters or some
Yeah,
bullshit. Yeah.
But if it's cool, actually, yeah, there's a very good reason to believe that they would look exactly the same every time.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be moving on to our main discussion, which is going to be about Three Body Problem, which is a Netflix series of show.
It's an 8-episode
Television?
Netflix series
It's
based
video
on
entertainment with sound.
based on novel, right?
A novel, yeah.
Based
I saw
on
it at
multiple
Barnes and
novels,
Noble.
I think. The bookstore.
Yeah, at the bookstore, Barnes and Noble, yes. A fateful decision in 1960s China echoes across space and time to a group of scientists in the present, forcing them to face humanity's greatest threat. All right, Brian. All right,
Hey.
Brian watched.
Two.
Two
And a little bit of the third
two
one.
episodes.
A little bit of the third.
I watched 3 episodes.
Yes.
And Noel watched 4 episodes.
4 and change. Yeah.
So, my son would love that. He loves the count.
Ah.
Who wants to start us off? Brian?
Hey, do you want me to start us off
don't
about
you start
talking
us
about
off?
this thing?
Yeah.
So, it was cool. It was.
Did you know what it was going in?
I have heard about the book for quite a while and have not read it. Book series,
Yeah,
actually. It's
yeah.
like incredibly popular book series in Japan.
I'm looking up how
I'm
many-
sorry, in China. And it was translated here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh yeah, it's very, very popular. And
Tommy B. Good says we inhaled all 8 episodes.
there's episodes.
Yeah.
I thought he meant books. I was like, there's so many. So anyway, it's kind of slow in the way I think that a prestigious show is sometimes slow in the beginning.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you can feel this like
Energy.
moment happening, you know. So it was cool. By the end of episode 2, I was more interested. You've got Keiko, the actress who played Keiko in Star Trek: The Next Generation. She plays the older version of that one scientist. So that was pretty cool. You've got a lot of interesting things happening, but not just little teases for the
Yeah.
beginning. And I hear that in later episodes it gets cooler, and I'm curious to see about that.
I looked it up. It is a 4-book series. It's only showing me 3 books though. It's Three Body Problem, The Dark Forest, and Death's End.
And did you guys look up what a 3-body problem is?
The show explains it to
They-
me.
The
Explains
show
it.
explained it finally.
Oh, very good.
And I went, oh, yes.
3.
It's not a corpse. Okay. I kind of
Oh,
thought.
no, it's like
because
an
of
astronomical.
bodies.
Uh-huh.
And then, what was
Bring in the
one-
bodies.
What about the,
Bodies 2.
There was another Netflix.
Literally called Bodies.
Bodies.
Was that just called Bodies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
So
that
I
a
thought it was
prequel?
going to be another, like, a murder
Did you
discovery.
Oh,
Did
like
you
there's a
finish-
3-body
three
problem.
bodies. How do we solve a
It's one more than we thought was going
Did
to be
you
there.
finish
Yeah.
Bodies, by the way?
No. I got
Did you
bored.
get to the bodies?
Did you
got
finish
bored.
Bodies?
I didn't even know about it. What are you talking about?
We did it for the show.
What's it about?
It's the one where
3
there's-
bodies were found in different time periods.
Oh yeah,
all
I
shot
did
in
finish
the
that.
eye.
I liked it. It was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one starts off slow too.
But
Yeah.
I mean that's remind me to bring up Bodies when we talk about if we liked this show or not. But,
Okay.
or I guess in spoilers. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
What did you think for the 3 episodes you watched?
So I went into it completely blind. I had no idea what this was going to be about. Like, I assumed it was literally a murder case kind of story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 3 bodies. Yeah, the scientific term 3-body problem I've
You had
never
not.
heard in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
So this is obviously you're chortling at me. It's something you're aware of.
I didn't know exactly what it was, but I always thought of bodies ever since I was a boy as like this,
Celestial Bodies. Yeah.
or just 3 physical things. Right. So that was always how I interpreted this title.
Oh, okay, great.
Oh, it's the 3-body problem. And I think I have probably heard what
That
the 3
phrase.
problem. Yeah, the 3 problem is how I like to shorten it up.
Sure, yeah. Problem.
So anyway, the Throblum and me,
Yeah,
we've gone back a little ways, but I wasn't quite sure what the Throblum was.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had no idea what the problem was, and so I thought it was off to an okay start. The problem I was facing was that my wife and I, because we were going to be talking about Shogun, the show, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. We've just been watching Shogun, and I am ass deep in Shogun. We went to Barnes and Noble and got the novel just because I'm enjoying the series so much. So it was one of those things.
Is that where you saw the other thing at Barnes and Noble?
That's true, yes.
Wow.
So
How ass deep did you get in the book?
Yeah,
I haven't started it yet because I had to watch Three Body Problem.
that's true.
So
That's
it's
why.
one of those things where I was being pulled to watch a thing that we were already ass deep in. Like, all right, we got to watch Three Body Problem for the show, and it was good. I'm enjoying it. I thought that was a different sort of role for Benedict Wong. I did not expect that accent to come out of him. Is
he British?
Quite good. He's British.
Doesn't he talk the same
I
as he
think that
does
may
in-
have just actually be his accent.
Isn't that how he talks in
No.
Doctor Strange? Is that right?
No, different.
Huh. Well, he doesn't have magic.
Whole
It's
different
fine.
thing.
Yeah.
And like a full head of hair, weird.
Right.
But the deeper I get into the show, I'm like,
What do you like, thigh?
I'm like knee deep.
Only knee deep?
Only
But that's
knee
already
deep
a
in
real
the show.
expression, JD. That's not funny.
I'm sorry. I'm taint deep.
That's ass deep.
No,
It's a hair's breadth.
stinky hair's breath. Yeah. So once I found,
Sorry.
my bad.
sorry.
Once we got to
Sorry.
find out what the three body problem actually is,
Yeah.
like you adjust each camera,
It's his three body problem.
just to get coverage.
Yeah.
I'm really starting to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I still want to watch Shogun more,
Okay.
but once I found out what the three body problem was and sort of where we were headed with this, I'm way more into it than I was.
Also, retroactively, take a drink every time somebody says three body problem.
Yeah, go back. Rewind and do that.
Three body problem.
Yeah.
Three body
You can
problem.
rewind as many times as you want.
And do not blame us for your alcohol poisoning.
There in the beginning, there were scenes where they find this
Body.
these helmets,
Yeah,
which
the
is sort of like
silvery sort of thing.
The bicycle helmet.
not AI. What's the word I'm looking for?
It's augmented reality.
Like a Matrix
VR.
thing.
It is
You know, like that movie?
VR.
VR,
Yeah.
VR,
VR.
They're like sort of this VR machine. And every time they would go into it, I would just drop interest.
Oh, really?
I was only really interested in like what was happening in the real world with what's going on in their vision, with the blinking of the lights, etc.
Sure.
But now that I'm 3 episodes in, I'm definitely more involved in what's happening in the
I watched one episode.
in the Cerebros.
I watched one episode last night and then 3 episodes today.
Uh-huh.
And I don't remember which episode what happens. But
Do you watch
get-
them out of order?
no, I watched them in unison and I don't remember
At the same
exactly
time.
what happened in what episode.
Like that guy with the screens.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
But there are parts when they get a little further in the game and they're playing at the same time that other people are playing. And those other people are played by just actors.
Yeah.
Some of them are notable, some of them aren't, and they're just doing their thing. I thought that was a pretty funny touch. The show is filled with a bunch of like cool little things that they do not explain.
I'm sorry. I'm reading the chat and
Only bodies in the building.
only bodies in the building followed up with thruple with a throblem.
Roxanne G.
Nailed it.
So I like the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's intriguing. It's good. It's meditative. I will say the show doesn't start until the end of episode 3.
Yeah.
So
The end of each
Hunker in,
episode
Betty.
So far, these two has been very interesting, right? They're good end of episodes, and I'm like,
But-
and now we're getting going.
but you
Here
don't
we go.
you
So,
don't even know the driving plot until the end of episode 3.
I get like that kind of reminds me. I haven't gotten there yet, but of the show Peripheral.
Yeah.
The what
I'm still laughing at thruple with a
Thruple with a
throblem.
throblem.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You want to change the name of the
Of the
show?
podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be out.
That's the Throblem.
No,
Go ahead.
I will not be a part of any show that has the word throb in it as the title.
Not even if it was like
As
Throb,
the title. I
Throb Jepson. With
no.
Throb Lion.
If throb is a
Alright.
part of the title, I'm gonna abstain.
Okay.
Just because
Okay,
it's got
that's
that,
okay.
it's that sound of that word, throb. I'm not a
understandable.
giant fan of it. Throb. I'm sorry.
What was I talking about?
Sorry.
Peripheral.
I'm sorry.
So
sorry.
Peripheral is was very similar. The first episode, pretty cool, not too much happening.
Yeah.
And then you had no idea what the show was about. Like nothing about what the show was really about was in the first episode. It turned out by episode 2. I don't expect that it's that big of a thing. But that and it got really cool. So it kind of sounds like Three Body
Yeah,
Problem
no,
like
okay.
that.
So I am enjoying this. It keeps revealing little pieces. It's very intentional about.
Yeah.
It's very very intentional about how and when it reveals information, which is engaging. But I have a aversion to these shows like this, when they last too fucking long. So I want this to be a full story in 2 to 3 seasons, and that's it.
Do you know if
Because-
this is the first book, the totality?
I don't know.
That's what I'm about to ask Roxanne and Tommy Be Good, because they commented that they listened to the audiobooks during COVID and got hooked. So you have seen all 8 episodes and you've done the books.
Match them up for us.
Yeah. Is
it?
this season
Yeah.
the first book?
Right.
And also,
tell
the
us
New
what
York
happened.
Times review nailed it. They say the characters in the books are one-dimensional, and they upgraded it to 2-ish.
Yeah, it sounds like the Netflix series took the book story and sequencing and made it more dynamic for audiences.
Oh.
I'm quickly reading the stuff
Synopses?
here for the books, and it sounds like they are more chronological, and the show kind of moves around in time.
This is the first book, they say. So, yeah.
But
great.
So just historically, it's developed for television for Netflix by the guys that developed Game of Thrones,
Right.
which arguably went on 3 seasons too long.
But they've also got all these books are out there. You know what I
no,
mean? As opposed to
even for the books that they had for Game of Thrones, I still think they went on too long because what?
yesterday.
I'm going to push back on that. I wish
Go
it
ahead.
was longer. I feel like that last season, they just wrapped everything up so quickly that I was like, what?
Where did that?
Well, that's what I mean.
no.
So that's to me that doesn't sound like long or short. That sounds like a problem with pacing.
Yeah.
They introduced this glacial pacing where things were very deliberate, and then all of a sudden they needed to speed up, and
Yeah.
it just felt very inorganic.
Oh, okay.
Whereas, so that's what I mean. Like, be intentional when you do stuff like this that is all mystery box, because if you don't, it's just like, oh, I guess we're gonna be watching this forever and we'll never actually have answers, and why did we start this story?
But the story is done.
Yeah.
You know, for this one, right? Like, not that they couldn't.
The books are.
The books are. That's what I mean.
Shows like this sometimes will find a way to inorganically extend themselves
After
or
that.
yes. So like I just want this to be two and done. Give me something that's solid
Handmaid's
and
Tale.
complete. And yeah, Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, yeah.
There's one novel.
7
There's
it's
a
like
sequel
7
eventually,
extra
but-
it's like 7 seasons and they just
But
keep
does that
going.
go beyond? Because if they do the full story and then they want to keep going or they don't, that doesn't affect the doing of the full story.
I don't care about the actual events of the novels.
Okay.
I'm talking about you developed this show. Does it have an ending? And can we get there? Like, what is the totality of this story that you want to tell? Not, we've got a good idea on how to start something. And yeah, there's an ending we'll get to eventually. Like, that's
Yeah.
old school network television kind of stuff that
Yeah.
means spreading stuff out as opposed to
Right.
a stronger story.
Start with a concept and see how much we can get.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's like an older model of television. This like streaming of complete
Like, here's a story.
prestige stories. So like Bodies,
Yeah.
awesome idea, kind of intriguing. And then in the last 3 or so episodes, they started like pulling answers away and then setting up
Oh, they're like,
a
what if there was
potential
another
second
thing?
season.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I thought this was a one thing.
why'd you do that? Because the story was strong, and but then it's like they were going out of their way to like build a parachute,
Yeah.
and it was just like,
It was like the last scene too.
yeah,
That's what-
it was,
yeah.
You know
Now-
what else did that? The Outsider. You remember The Outsider for HBO?
Oh, I love The Outsider.
Awesome. And then the very last scene of the last episode, something happened, and you're like, what the?
Hey, what was
fuck?
that?
Like it had nothing to do with.
I didn't see that show.
I don't remember that at all.
Huh.
We'll talk about it afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was it completely negated the like impact and just one and done awesome nature of the show.
Yeah.
Now, if they do these 3, and then if they want to do more or not, take it or leave it, whatever. But as long as we get to, I would like to see
Yeah.
the end of this story.
Oh yeah, it's a form over function kind of thing. Like it's a TV show, or it's a very specific TV show based on a very specific story. Do it. Don't like inorganically stretch it or compact it.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
do it.
You had mentioned earlier the connections between things, which was something that I think was very cool in, I think towards the end of episode 2, when they say, oh, these 3 things are connected. And connected as an idea, like thematically, not like one caused the other. And it's right there in front of you the whole time. You're like, oh yeah, those three things are similar. I had thought of them as three completely different things. Like that, it was very well done. That was very cool. I'm also struck by the beauty of the, I assume, Mandarin language as they are speaking it. It's very nice. Yeah.
There's a show like the show is really ambitious, like really ambitious. I think that's a good thing, and also kind of like not a bad thing, just like an obvious thing. Sometimes it looks amazing. Sometimes it looks horrible.
Oh, I don't think
Oh, I
I've
didn't
noticed it
see
looking
the horror.
horrible.
I'm watching it on my giant TV.
Giant TV.
Just in general, like, and honestly too, one of the what might have been my what you've been up to this week was Damsel.
Oh, yeah.
Some of it looks great. Some of it looks awful.
Yeah.
There is a consistency problem in regards to it's weird. Like the world building is awesome. It's a full package. It's a really intriguing show. I'm totally going to finish it.
Yeah.
But it gives me bad feeling. Like I remember bad experience. It's triggering me in bad experiences kind of ways where shows don't stick the landing, or they are all about the contemplative mystery and never about the actual like narration.
Solution to that mystery.
It doesn't even have to be a solution.
Oh, okay.
A climax, a conclusion. Solution. I don't need answers. I just need to know. I prefer, not even need. I prefer to know why I took this journey
Like
with
if
you.
it meant something.
For sure.
I prefer to know why I took this journey.
Yeah.
And sometimes shows or movies are more concerned with how cool they are, or how complex they are, or how mysterious they are,
That to me is the
and not why I
last three
took the journey.
Matrix movies.
A little bit,
Yeah.
Like look how ponderous and interesting this is. But that's great on paper and in sequence and out of context. But as I want to be emotionally invested in this story and where am I going with it?
Yeah. Tommy B. Good says, I am making popcorn because the second and third books had cool ideas, but also the plot hinges on this super misogynistic idea. So I want to see how they will fix that. Reading the books was so interesting, not just for the science, but for the understanding of Chinese culture with regard to communal decision-making, gender roles, and story sequencing. Hard to explain. No, I get it. Yeah, that's great. Don't remind me of that. I'm still angry. Supposedly Peacock did a 3-body problem already with the storyline that's just like in the books. I had no idea about this.
Wait, what?
Yeah. That's what Roxanne is saying. You got to go up like 5 or 6. Lin Shi, a billionaire who helped produce the science fiction hit, was poisoned. That's right.
I pulled that up.
Yeah. A billionaire who helped produce the science fiction hit was poisoned to death by a disgruntled executive. His attacker got the death penalty. This was posted on April 1st, and I went, that would be a really weird April Fool's joke, guys. But yeah, the producer was killed, poisoned to death.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah. True story. Now, Dylan was so excited that we were going to be talking about this because he watched all 8 episodes of the show
excited.
and he loved it. Dylan.
Yes,
Agree,
You don't think he was excited?
I'm listening in my mic. I want to hear him.
All right, keep listening. Yeah. I like the our friends in the chat said I inhaled it. It definitely was scratching a sci-fi itch that I've been having recently. And
I thought our show scratched all your nerdy itches.
you scratch some of the nerdy itches, but not always the sci-fi itches. Sometimes, you
Fair
know,
enough.
there's
There's
a
some
lot of
nerdy.
different itches, and you guys itch a lot of them, you know, with all 30 fingers up there. So
That's what they call us, old 30
whole 30 fingers.
We're coming at you with all 30 fingers. Let's go.
I completely get Noel's wariness with like Netflix shows about how like they start off strong and then it's like you're trying to do too much. Just make a good product and then end it.
Basically,
And I didn't know that this was I did know it was based off a book. I didn't know it was a trilogy. And so when I finished the season and it didn't like end with like a bow wrapped up and thing, I was a little like, I just hope they don't cancel it because I genuinely enjoyed it.
Like Altered Carbon did.
Yeah, like all
They had at least got like 2 seasons, right?
and they
did,
did a spin-off
but also
show of
based on
that
the book.
too.
There was a spin-off of that?
Yeah, like an animated one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I wonder. Sushan, I think, really liked Altered Carbon. She watched both seasons.
Me too.
Never watched it.
Yeah, yeah, all right.
But yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I think all the reveals, like you guys were saying, like it just keeps it exciting and it's cool and weird, and I like it.
What did you think of that game part? Because unlike JD, I was like immediately into it. And I'm not usually, I don't care about characters playing games.
Right.
But it seemed to be not so much a game as like a puzzle, like a 3-body problem being a mathematical puzzle. You know?
Throbble.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, and you got to solve a problem.
Yeah.
So,
He hates this.
I know. It's a problem for him. So,
Go on. That's fine.
so yeah, I immediately thought of that game
Yeah.
as being. So, Dylan, were you entranced when they
I
were there,
was a
or were you
little-
like, let's get back to it?
I was a little weird at first. I was like, oh, is this gonna take what road is this going down? Because then once you start getting into like a virtual reality show, it could literally go anywhere. But
Yeah.
it was extremely interesting after a while,
Nice.
especially the reveal of the whole purpose of it and stuff. It's very cool.
Yeah, the third episode I think is the clincher, is the hook, and then the fourth episode's pretty solid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And then honestly, it just keeps going. More fun reveals and stuff.
I heard
Okay.
something ridiculous / awesome happens in episode 5. I was trying to get to it, but I didn't have time.
Okay.
I don't remember what happens in each
Yeah.
episode, just because like I binged it.
You don't have full recall?
But, no, like
Would
you,
you
I
watch
watched
it on
them.
sequence?
I watched them all. No, I watched them
Got
all.
him. That's your problem.
Oh, he got him.
He was referencing your.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, but I
He's
got
gonna
him
Used
with
it to
you.
get him.
I got him with you.
I think you just
Ah.
exactly.
It's kind of like when Kong grabbed that baby
Zuko
Kong and
and
then
just, like,
like
started
started
beating
wailing
people.
other Kongs with him.
With a baby Kong?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I was
He
adolescent.
picks up a baby Kong and starts whooping other Kongs'
not like that
asses
kid
with
that
it.
Well, the
much?
kid was being a little shit.
He
I
was a
gotcha.
little shit.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to finish this as soon as I think we're done watching
Shogun.
Shogun. Yeah.
Once you're more than ass deep in Shogun.
Yeah,
How much
yeah.
is it when you're done? You're all the way in.
I'm like,
Head-
I'm done.
head-
I'm drowning
head
in Shogun.
Huh. And then it's over.
A bunch of Throblum children, says Tommy.
There's so many good titles for podcasts. Here.
All right. Anything else we should chat about before we get out of here? No, we did it. We did it, you guys.
Yeah, you did it
Read,
again.
read more comics.
Read more comics.
Yeah.
That's great. Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. Join us at Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street. You can also check Noel and I out when we get together to do another podcast, which we call,
Fresh floppies.
which is a spoiler-free comic book review show that goes up on Wednesdays, which is New Comic Book Day.
Yeah, we recorded it today.
We recorded
It'll
it
be
an
on
hour
tomorrow.
ago.
Yeah.
We're going to put it up.
Yeah, we talk about all the new comics out this week. So
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk at you later.